walk into neighbors' houses without knocking, like trying to talk to them. And the neighbors get all weirded out because they've been told she's an adult. So to them, she's a 22-year-old with dwarfism who smells bad and who just walks into people's houses without knocking. So all the neighbors get together and they report her to the landlord and she gets evicted. So then Michael and Christine still don't want to take care of her. So they move her to a different apartment. Meanwhile, they move far, far away from her. She's in Indiana. They move to Canada. So now poor Natalia really has no one. But while she's living at her new place, Natalia meets this woman, Mrs. Mans. And Mrs. Mans immediately sees through all the bullshit. She's like, you're not 22, you're a kid. They've been lying to you. And by the way, Natalia's probably around 11 at this point. So Mrs. Mans invites her over and they end up liking Natalia a lot. So much so that she stays and never leaves. And she ultimately ends up becoming part of their family. Good for her. Meanwhile, I guess police show up to the apartment Natalia's supposed to be living in and they're looking for her. Because apparently she hasn't paid any of her bills and no one's really heard from her since she moved in with Mrs. Mann's family. And I'm guessing she hasn't paid any of her bills because she's like, 11. So police track her down and they're like, why haven't you paid any of your bills? Are you okay? And she's like, I'm only a kid. And they're like, where are your parents? And she's like, they abandoned me and went to Canada. And police are like, what the f***? So police arrest Michael and Christine for abandoning their kid. Here's his mugshot and here's hers. And they try to charge them with child neglect, but they can't. Since Michael and Christine legally had Natalia's age changed to 22, she's not legally a child. So instead, they charge them with neglecting a dependent. So Michael and Christine are out on bail, they're waiting for their trial, and they go on a whole ass press tour trying to paint Natalia as a villain.
We would find knives under her bed.
And eventually, they go to trial, and Michael's found not guilty of neglect. And so the prosecution drops their case against Christine. Womp womp. But the good news is that Natalia was eventually officially adopted by Mr. and Mrs. Mans. And now it appears like she has good parents who seem to really love her and take care of her. And most of this happened like years ago, and now she's all grown up and she has a TikTok account.
Hey guys, it's Natalia. I wanted to come on here and just let you guys know that this is my new TikTok.
And good for her. Shout out to Indiana.